You ever think someone has a Santa kink? Do you think you'd ever date someone
With a Santa kink?
with a Santa kink? Like you wear that and she's just like, fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah.
Would you be into it?
I think I'd be into it.
Yeah.
I think a girl wearing sports apparel is pretty sexy.
Okay, how did you get from okay, I feel like sports apparel.
It's the same
I
thing.
get it.
It's
okay?
the same thing.
Like if I look at a cheerleader, I'm like, oh Lakers.
It's the same thing.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Like a girl like in nothing but a football jersey. It's pretty hot.
But football players are real.
Okay.
Santa isn't real.
Okay, old fat men wearing hats are real too.
Yeah, but it's
More
a specific look. It's a specific look.
Wait, Santa or Santa hat?
Like a Santa kink, not a Santa hat kink, but a Santa kink. Like you start doing the get up, and then she's like, fuck. She's just like, oh my god.
Hey man, whatever floats your boat.
Okay, I'm just wondering, like, would you like?
Would I date or would I get?
Would you? Is that a deal breaker for you?
No.
Even if
it's just a kink.
What if it's like, it's not a kink? It's like she has to do it like 80% of the time.
Okay, that's not a kink. That's just that's just weird.
Okay, so is that a deal breaker?
I think so. At least in terms of a long-term relationship. Like if we hook up 10 times and 8 of the 10 times I notice that she needs me to be
takes out the Santa hat.
She needs me to be in the Santa hat before she'll take anything off. It's a little weird. Like, but I'll go 10 times just to make sure like I understand the pattern, the likelihood. Yeah.
So that's a deal breaker.
I think by the 10th time it's more of a science experiment. It is. Yes, I would. It's not a complete deal breaker until it's
so like what's like a 50 if it's 50%, would you be like, oh, okay.
Oh, like for like long-term dating?
Yeah. Like if it's 50%.
No, it would have to be like
less than 50?
No, it'd have to be seasonal.
It's like February. And she's like, wear this. What the fuck?
It's not even Christmas time. It's just like March. every Thursday of March, you're putting on the hat.
You have to wear a Santa hat. God damn it. Can you imagine during Christmas time you have to go with the full outfit? Yeah.
But that's a good question. That's a good question, like to have. Like, what is the kink that would like scare you off, or how much could you take in terms of like someone you're just casually dating, hooking up with, or someone you're actually like full on dating long term?
Yeah, I feel like if it happens more than once a year.
Okay.
Where I have to, and it's like I have to dress up, I have to wear something.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like no, that's
not that long. That's very
once every year.
Once every year, 100.
If it happens more than once, okay, so you'd be fine dating a girl that wants you to wear a Santa hat or a Santa costume.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to start the episode like this.
Right.
I'm just trying to find a segue into what do you want for Christmas?
Well, speaking of Christmas, speaking of Santa hats and Santa kinks. Have you thought about what you wanted for Christmas? You gave me a list.
I have thought about what I wanted for Christmas.
You gave me a list. They're all Legos.
It's all Legos.
They're all Are you like in a Lego obsession right now?
I am, dude. It's not just me. It's the whole country. I forgot the exact number. We can look it up. But one of the biggest drives of the toy industry right now is adults. Like, and by adults, the statistics were saying like everybody 12 and over. So what do you want for Christmas, Sanjay?
Dude, I don't know.
You don't know?
I really don't know.
You really don't know?
I honestly I don't know what I want for Christmas.
What would you want for Christmas for somebody else?
I sound so selfish.
No, you can't be selfish. You just said you don't know what you want for yourself.
Yeah, but I don't know what I want for someone else. Like,
that just means you're not considerate.
Okay, I guess. Oh, wow, that makes me feel so much better. I'm inconsiderate. I think my sister. I want my sister. But she did get a bike. She got a new bike. She had like a $200-$300 bike, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, fucking doing with a $300 bike.
Your parents gave that to her? Or you
Yeah,
got it for yourself?
no, my parents gave it to us.
Oh, okay.
She's
Yeah.
17. Where's she gonna where's she gonna get that money from? I would be really concerned if my sister
Maybe she saved up. I don't know.
she saved
So
her whole life savings.
so her parents. Oh, your parents gave her a bike for Christmas.
Mhm.
Did your parents give you anything for Christmas?
Well, I haven't gone there yet. That's where I'm going today.
Ah,
That's where I'm going today. Hello.
there might be a surprise waiting.
By the way, you see, we didn't.
Oh.
We're doing that thing again.
The thing.
We're doing that thing again.
Sorry, the thing. We are boys on
The edge.
The edge, right? I always forget.
Okay, I don't actually forget anymore. Like
You don't actually forget.
I don't actually forget anymore.
Is the running joke no longer that we forget?
It's not. Yeah,
It's old.
It's old. It's old.
It's true. We are growing. We are growing, and the way we know we're growing is that this
Is our 10th episode
and the season finale.
end of season 1. We've officially, by the amount of episodes we've made, we've officially put out 1 episode a month since we started
Really,
in March. Yep,
that's
because
good.
we started in March.
What a change. What a transition we've made.
I know we used
Right?
to.
Man. What would you say was your favorite part from season 1 so far, or season 1 now because we're this is
Okay,
episode.
well, my favorite part was when I went on Reddit to ask for help about the podcast.
Okay.
And I sent it out.
Mhm.
And this one dude, everyone was very constructive.
Okay.
But this one dude was like, "What the fuck is this?" Which I was like, "Ooh."
Oh, wait. Oh, you posted the episode on Reddit
I just asked
critique?
for help. Yeah, I just say,
Oh,
I need help on like, what do you guys think of this
Yeah,
podcast?
yeah,
My friend and I are starting.
You told me that. I didn't know this.
I talked about it in 1 episode.
All right, we won't dwell on it right now because I want to
Okay.
hear the rest of the criticism. But we should.
Yeah,
should
but
be the- I want to say
this is very constructive. Everyone was helping out.
Mhm.
Because this one dude, he's like, "What the fuck is this?" I was like, "I don't know." Like,
You know what? Half the time, that's what I'm saying too. Like, what the fuck is this?
yeah,
What
well,
are they saying?
it's changed a little bit since then. Like we used to,
What do your sisters say? We just shoot the shit.
We
What about
shoot the
episode
shit.
like 3 or 4.
Yeah, we
just
shoot
you
the
guys
shit.
shooting the shit.
Yeah, we just
Yeah.
shooting the shit. But no, it's interesting. Like that first episode was fascinating to make.
Mm-hmm.
Because
The first one was I'm gonna feel bad for forgetting. The first one was questions to each other, right?
No,
What
it was
the
$1
first
million, but
one? Yeah, that's what I meant. $1 million.
yeah, questions was after. We had questions for each other
But
after.
a million. Yeah, it was still questions, but like
Yeah.
a specific question. Yeah, yeah.
$1 million, but
Yeah, we weren't really sure what we were doing just yet. We just knew we wanted to record something that's just us talking like we usually talk.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like-
I think that's where
Because like even though this is on camera, like this is typically how we talk with each other. So we were asking NJ, what do you want for Christmas? You're still not sure, right?
I'm not sure.
What are your plans for Christmas?
I'm going home. I'm going home to my home in Victorville. I'll stay there for a few days till Christmas Day, and then I'm driving back Christmas Day.
Nice. Oh, you're driving back Christmas Day? And you're there for the celebration and the gifts and just...
Yeah, well, we
Mhm.
celebrate the 24th. I don't know about you and your family,
Oh,
but we
same.
celebrate the 24th. Like
Mhm.
nothing really happens on the 25th.
Yeah.
Like
same.
25th is like a giveaway day. Like we literally sit at home.
Mm-hmm. No, I
Yeah.
feel I have a bunch of family coming in from Peru.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
and my cousin, his wife, their 2 kids, and then my aunt and my uncle, and my girlfriend is coming after all of them also. So needless to say, it's gonna be very crowded in my house that only has 2 bedrooms.
When is that?
So my cousin shows up with his family Christmas Eve.
Mm.
My aunt shows up the 27th, and my girlfriend also shows up the 27th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you need to get the mattress when I get back.
Yes, I need your air mattress,
You
please.
need my air mattress.
I do.
I don't know if it's in here or if it's at home.
I need to borrow the bed because there's not enough beds already in my house.
How many people are coming? So
It's gonna be total 10 people.
10 people
10
in
people.
your house,
Yeah.
including you guys, or
Yeah,
10
I-
plus people.
No, 10 total people.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah. Including the kids. That's 10 total people.
Oh, jeez.
I
Okay,
never
so-
wanted to be the stereotype where we stuff a bunch of Hispanics in one house and then the token white. but I guess that's what it's gonna be this Christmas.
That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Is this the first time where you guys celebrated at your house? Because I know last time was that Christmas, or was that there was a celebration where it was at someone else's house?
Oh, that was some family friend.
That was a family
some
friend.
some random thing.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, I'm happy it's Christmas time finally. You know,
Yeah.
today was my last day of work. I don't know, like yours, how long if you've been working this week or not.
Well, yeah, I'm working this week. I'm pretty much off for the next 3 days, and then I'm working on the 26th.
It's a nice time of year though, right? It's a good time to just relax. You know, if you like getting presents, and I guess it's a great time of year, right?
Yeah.
But if you love giving presents, spending time with family, whoever your family is, you know, it's a fun time.
It's you definitely feel the relaxation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever like I've noticed this during this time. It's like I can't. It's harder to work.
Yeah,
Like it's harder to work.
you
Like
have
I feel
a
like
you know you remember senioritis or like the
yeah. Okay, that's what it is.
I
Yeah,
said
it's
this,
kind of like
I
senioritis.
said to my girlfriend, I have the last day lazies right now. Like I just don't want to work because I know
Mhm.
it's the last day. Like I
Yeah,
just want to be done with it.
yeah.
You
No,
know?
I get it.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time to just be
Well,
with family, like not do anything. I really am excited for next year though. Like I'm thinking ahead to next year.
what's next year?
Just a new year, you know. I
Like I thought you meant like next year's Christmas. I was like,
oh no no
do we
no
have something planned for next year's Christmas already? Oh, like
no
next year's Christmas already?
no.
Like Christmas didn't even
Like
arrive yet.
I know I'm talking about enjoying the Christmas season now, but like I'm
Uh-huh.
also looking forward to because New Year's is a week after Christmas, right? I'm looking forward to next year too. I'm just kind of I feel like I have an idea of what I want to do different next year. And I like the idea of a fresh start. You know what I mean?
Okay, so that's interesting because I am curious about that now because like this is the first time I'm hearing you like I have a I have a new image of myself. You're gonna turn into a woman? Like what? What is it? What is it? Tell me. What is? Are you? Do you have any big plans next year? Like
What if this really was like my opportunity to like announce my transition and you just fucked me over?
that's what your dad was talking about, Mijo. When you first announce it, I just want to let you know.
Oh no.
Oh
Oh no.
no, dude,
Oh
he
my
was.
god.
I can only imagine your dad's disappointment. But okay, let's bring it back. Okay, before you before we derail this,
Yes.
what are your big plans next year?
Um, wow. So I want to be more diligent at work. I feel like because I started during COVID, I started at a time in my job where there was not a lot of structure
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of it, and because I work salary, like I don't work, hourly.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my schedule is based on how I make it. And so because I did it during COVID and a lot of it was work from home, it's been hard building up the habit of going to the office every day, keeping track of the business I do every day. Um, and I want to apply that to my regular normal life as well, outside of work. Like I want to have a more serious schedule that I follow. I feel like because of COVID, like and because of school, actually, the school and COVID, like back to back, I got so used to just being on my own time, on my own schedule, and not so much like a structured schedule, but definitely like, oh, I'll do it when I get to it.
Mm-hmm.
If I feel up to it, I'll get it done. That kind of mentality. I'm realizing now in my mid 20s. God,
How old are you? 20?
I'm 26, so
Oh, you're 1 year behind.
I'm not saying late 20s yet. I'm saying mid 20s.
You're late.
But I'm realizing now in my mid 20s, that's just not how the world works, or it's not how I can function right now.
Do you feel like if COVID didn't happen, you'd still be feeling this way?
Man, if COVID didn't happen, so many other things would be different, right? But no, I feel like because here's an example. When I interviewed for my job, there were a lot of people at the office, and for sure, if I started without being in quarantine, they would have expected me to go in every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so going into that kind of work system, that work culture right away, yeah, things would have been way different. Absolutely.
Okay, so that's
what about you? Like, do you feel like the transition of COVID, I guess, from COVID to not COVID, or even like before COVID, through COVID, and now out of COVID? I know, like you were working through all of that because you'd already graduated, but I was coming out of school.
yeah.
Do you still feel that transition as you?
Oh, I
kind
feel
of
it. I feel it. Yeah, I
Mhm.
definitely feel it. I feel it because we used to do things in person,
Mhm.
and then we transitioned like that to just all virtual,
all virtual, right?
and then we're doing it again in person.
Mhm.
So it's weird because there's things that are like you don't notice, like shit has to be clean. Like shit has to be like it can't just be like your background that the camera sees.
Yeah.
Like shit actually has to be clean.
Yeah. You don't have to wear pants, but you probably should be wearing pants.
Okay, again, I don't know any more about that. If we do things in person, I just come out. Oh, this is my Zoom outfit. Like I don't know. Yeah, you can't. There's things that you can't do anymore. Like you can't. Like if you're in Zoom and you're in a meeting, right? Like you can just turn off your camera for a little bit, right, and go to the restroom or whatever.
Yeah, and even in my job, it's pretty acceptable for anybody from start to finish, or even randomly in the middle, to just have their cameras off, and nobody questions it. Like nobody really asks why. If there's anything to share, if there's anything to see during the Zoom meeting, we just share our screen.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Dude, funny story. Like apparently, some of the new people that started at my company, the guy who was doing their training about a year ago was doing it virtually, and I guess there was a mirror behind the guy, and it was very obvious the guy was only wearing boxers.
No way.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
That's so funny.
That's horrible. See, stuff like that. I had someone when I was doing training, right? When I was running training, they had the Zoom background, like the virtual Zoom background. And then you could just see in the middle of it a dude's penis just pop up into this virtual background. Because you know how like the background is only like a certain distance, right?
Yeah.
But like if you get too close, and it was a bunch of people. There was probably like 30 people on there. And I'm pretty, I like to be observant on like when I'm running work, right? Like I like to see what people's backgrounds are. And I just see like this girl and the dude's penis just like pop up. And I was just like, and then she freaked out. She's like, and then she turned off the camera. And in my head, I'm looking around. I'm like, I don't think anybody else noticed except for me. And I was like, that's so interesting.
They do. That's another thing about virtual meetings. That's how you kind of figured out like who does take it seriously, who doesn't.
Yeah. So
I don't know if this guy showing his cock on like live on camera was like trying to be funny or a joke, but like I feel like being forced to take your work culture that used to be in person and now putting it all virtually, like it proves how serious you are, or how serious you want to be about your job, right? Because I'll be honest, like I'm not always serious about my job. I definitely like mess around a little bit, and
me too, man.
And I'm not blaming it on COVID, but I entered into a work structure that wasn't entirely structured. It didn't have like a full set of rules and like things like we had to follow, or like a time sensitive schedule, every time, right?
It was just less stringent.
Yeah.
Like back then it was just less stringent. Again, like, I don't like think about when you have a professional job, right?
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm burping. That was pretty bad.
Was this your real voice?
Brian. Think about when you have a professional job, right? Like if you have work at 9, you don't just wake up at 8:30. You wake up at 7. You get ready, you get showered, right? If you do other things, you get, there's other things that you do. You account for driving time. You account for that. There's a lot of things that go on that helps with like a certain discipline when we do things in person, right? But like if you're in a Zoom, you can literally wake up. If you have work at 9, you can wake up at 8:50, put on a shirt, and you're good to go. No, and it's true. Like, dude, I've done that so many times. I've done it so many times, like in professional work settings, So it's so interesting to see that transition now, and I feel like a lot of people are having a tough time.
Yeah,
after 2 years.
You know what it is? It's the accountability. Like doing everything virtual, work from home. It took away, like, as much as in person sounds like it wouldn't be that big a part of accountability in a job or even in school. It's a pretty big part, because it shows, like I said, like it shows how serious you are. You show up, you present yourself in a professional way. You're there for so many hours. Not every job is like this, obviously, but for the people who take their jobs seriously, whatever job that may be, they show up. They put in the work. And when we were put into quarantine and had to do work from home, and then made to transition out of work from home to sort of a hybrid, in some cases now full on come back into the office, it's hard. It's really hard. Yeah.
People forgot about traffic.
People forgot about traffic.
Traffic.
Do you remember how easy traffic used to be? Everywhere we went, the freeways were empty. Got everywhere within 10, 20
Someone
minutes.
needs to eat another bat, bro. Someone needs to eat another bat because
Yeah,
that
dude.
no traffic was so good. Okay, obviously I don't mean that, but no traffic was so good.
Mhm.
You know, it's just those things that you. It was just a completely different world. It was just a completely different world.
Mhm.
You know, there's just other things that we didn't think about.
Right.
You know,
And so here we are, entering 2023. We'll talk a bit more about Christmas before this episode's over, right? But going into 2023, I kind of talk about what I want to do different. Like, what do you want to do different?
do I need to have a healthier diet?
A healthier diet.
I need to have a healthier diet.
Mm-hmm.
I have a habit of either eating a lot, like binge eating,
Mm-hmm.
or not, like having like today, only having one meal.
Angie, why don't you just accept your body for what it is?
No, no, no,
Why? No.
no. No, okay, so it's not that.
Yeah.
So I look at old photos of me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm like, okay, if I have the confidence that I have now in that body,
It's over.
dude,
Yeah.
it's over. Like it's over. Like my boss told me, oh, my boss didn't tell me this, but one of my photos, I put hashtag panty dropper, and my boss liked it
I don't know.
from
Okay.
like years ago.
Okay. I don't know how much it says that your boss liked it necessarily, but I get what you're saying.
But it's people were like, wow, is that you? Like that was me, and it was I just didn't have I was, what is it, 18, 17?
Mm-hmm.
I had, a good body. Now I can't even run a mile, dude.
I said it more as a joke, but actually, how do you feel about body positivity as a whole? Like, actually, let's talk. Okay, for you specifically, let's talk about body positivity for you, and then we can talk about it for me together.
Okay, so I have very strong opinions in terms of attractiveness,
Mm-hmm.
like on what I'm attracted to and what I'm not attracted to.
Well, just for you though, let's not talk about other people. Let's like just for you. Like, how do you apply body positivity to yourself?
Well, I just accept my body,
Mm-hmm.
but I understand that some people might not be keen to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, like I've definitely gained a lot of weight.
That's a good point. Does body positivity for you trump or not trump your health?
Oh, it would if I found out that I'm really unhealthy and what I need to do is lose weight,
Mm-hmm.
I'd try my best to lose weight.
Yeah.
I wouldn't just accept it.
Yeah. Like you've heard it a lot recently, probably, that you go into the doctor. Let's say you're overweight, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go into the doctor. Maybe you're having like health problems. Your legs are hurting, like they're not as like strong as they used to be. Something about your body is breaking down.
Mm-hmm.
And if they see that you're overweight, they're probably going to like point to that as one of the first things, right?
They should.
Right? Yeah, it makes sense. But in terms of, I guess, your overall image of yourself, let's say like you're not actually like super overweight. Do you ever feel bad about it? Like, do you ever feel?
I feel mad about it. Yeah, I feel angry about it. Like what I feel is that is due to the fact that I know it could be better.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like if I just take in
better on by what standard?
better in terms of, I guess, weight wise. Like right now, I don't even want to look at my weight, but I know it's not.
It's not where you want it.
It's not where I want it to be. But I know I could be better if I just took the steps to make it better. So that's where the anger comes from.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, okay, well, I could do something about it, but there are times when it's hard, and there are times when it's easy, and I only seem to do it when it's easy.
And it's not always up to you, right? Like I feel like, I totally agree about you. Like you're fat. No, really.
I totally agree. You're a fat fuck.
No, I
Actually, dude, imagine I might actually. Oh man, just start wearing thick jackets everywhere. It's not me. It's just my jacket.
But really, I feel like I can relate. Like I don't think either of us are fat. Really, like I don't think either of us are fat by any like standard. But it's realistic for both of us, internally to think like I'm a little pudgy here and there. I could be stronger in my arms or my legs or whatever. It's realistic and healthy even to have those thoughts about yourself,
Mhm.
you know. And I was going to say about, myself, how I feel like if I did the work to go to the gym more, eat healthier,
Mhm.
and that's all part of this like schedule too, right? Like eating on a healthier schedule, so you're not like almost forced to have to get fast food because there's no food at your house, you didn't buy anything, you didn't cook anything. That's all part of it, right? It's
Mhm.
all work, it's all hard work. Everything about it is hard work. And it's just difficult to dedicate yourself to that sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then
It's difficult to dedicate and it's difficult to maintain
mhm.
like over and over. Like I find myself having a
especially
hard time. Yeah.
especially to maintain when things get in the way, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, because sometimes like you go on a lot of work trips, right? Or like you travel for work.
Hmm. Like I
Um,
travel a lot. Yeah.
yeah, sometimes those trips will take 2 weeks. I don't know, like that 2 weeks of your
Hmm.
time, and that interferes. Like it's a huge bump in the road
Hmm.
to like where you want to be because you can't go to the gym. You start eating out more.
Hmm.
You spend a lot more money on it. So like you're conscious about that as well. Yeah, the maintaining part of it, staying dedicated to the process, or if you just keep if the average of your days of your year is you went to the gym this many times a month, you ate
Hmm.
healthy this many days of the month, you're going to see the results, right? But it's hard to keep that
Yeah.
up.
It's
Yeah,
hard to keep it up. Yeah.
I get that. You think that like the notion that it is a lot of hard work is what really keeps people from doing it, what keeps most people from doing it.
I don't think it's an interesting question. I don't think it's because it's a lot of hard work. It's I think when they fall off the wagon,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like when like let's say they dedicate losing weight, right? And the way to do it is they work out like whatever 5 times a week, 6 times, whatever the number is. If they miss one day, they give up because they missed that one day.
Yeah, me
I don't know if yeah, I
for
don't know
sure.
if you've ever had that feeling. That's a normal feeling. I think I don't remember what the term of it is called, but there's this thing where it's like, well, if I'm gonna eat unhealthy a little bit, why don't I just eat unhealthy a lot? I don't know
Yeah,
if you've ever had that feeling before.
it's like it's not a domino effect. I forgot what it's called.
Yeah, but it's yeah, it's that, you
It's
know.
like instantly letting things fall apart,
Hmm.
basically.
Yeah.
Where because you ate unhealthy one day,
Hmm.
you messed up the whole week, and so now it doesn't matter what you do the rest of the week because you messed up that one time.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. But it's super easy to fall into that mental trap
Hmm.
that like, well, I already fucked up one time. I might as well just like not care about the rest of the week. That's for sure me. I don't know if like this happens to
No,
you.
it happens to me all.
Yeah,
It happens
I think
in
it's very
my.
human, right?
Yeah.
It's a very, very human thing to happen, especially if like you're not dedicated to something just yet.
Yeah.
It's easy to, and if you don't have the habit built just yet, right?
Well, yeah, and it's hard to build that habit, you know. So
Mm.
really hard to build that habit over and over and over again. And then when you miss it, it's like, well, I can miss it one day. It's like missing class. That happens when you miss class. I don't know if you've ever done that before. Where you're like, oh, I missed class one day. It's okay to miss
Not
it
for
again.
no, for one class in particular
I
that I
did
can
that
think
one
of.
time. It's horrible. I missed. I probably went the first day and the last day.
Mhm.
It's so much so that the teacher was like, "Oh, you here?
Yeah,
Like you're in this class." I don't know
yeah.
if you ever told you that, but I failed a class in college
Hmm.
because I did.
Yeah, I know. I know what you mean. There was this one class also where I just didn't know what to do. Like I couldn't do the homework. I wasn't able to pay attention, or I wasn't paying. Not that I wasn't able to. I just wasn't paying attention in the lectures. The class was like at 7 8 a.m. Every like 2 days a week.
Uh-huh.
I just didn't want to get up that early.
Hmm.
I thought the teacher was kind of a dick too, so that didn't help either.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was easy to allow one day of not dedicating myself to it and not following the habit to just let everything else go to fuck all. Yeah.
See, that's the thing. It's interesting because it's like when you mention body positivity,
Mm-hmm.
that's not what body positivity is. I guess what it really says is you're okay the way you are, and you should just accept the way you are.
I don't like that second part.
But that's the thing. It's like that's what it is. You should like that's what I think that's what they are saying,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Who's they?
Like if you believe in body positivity, like
Mm-hmm.
people that purport body positivity,
Mm-hmm.
it's that you should accept who you are,
Yeah. And be
which I don't think you
okay.
should because you're a piece of shit.
Like
You
just
know?
just be okay with it, right?
Yeah, just be okay with it. I don't think
Yeah.
you should. I really don't think. I don't think you're okay the way you are. Because you could be better,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you could be way better than you are.
Yeah. Did you just call me a piece of shit? Did I just like walk past that?
Excuse me? What did you just say? No, and it's we're all pieces of shit. Like the way we are, and that's the thing. I can imagine myself being better if I just did certain things.
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine myself being better. I can imagine myself being 30 pounds lighter than I am.
Mm-hmm.
Like
more muscular, like more dedicated to some process that gets you there. Right?
Yeah, like
you can see it, but like you understand, like maybe not right away, but you eventually understand, like, oh, that's just too much work. It's not gonna go through with it. Not gonna do it. It's just easier to accept who I am. You know, that's just not the way. Yeah, it's just not the way a functionally. How do I say this without sound like a dick? It's not the way a functional healthy adult. I'm just like, I'll say healthy, like, because it makes sense to me that in body positivity, if you're just okay with being overweight, and I'm only talking about weight, like I'm not talking about if you're ugly, if you're ugly, if you're bald, if you're like Jada Smith, right? If you're not, that was a dated reference. Wow. Go check out episode 6, the slap or whatever. The slap. I think so. I think it was 6. But anyway, like if I'm not talking about that, I'm talking about just like overweight. Like there's definitely individuals out there who have definitely would want to lose the weight, but for whatever genetic, maybe even disease related reasons, they can't. Yeah, they those people exist. But the group in society who is now saying that it's okay to accept fatness as being okay. It's okay that you are 300 pounds and you buy a ticket on an airplane and you have to take up 2 seats. Even though you only paid for the one and there's 2 other people in your row, it's okay because we should accommodate to you. This is the part of body positivity that I don't like. I don't like that because somebody is overweight, we have to change our expectation of health, of even some beauty standards. You know, fat people, skinny people, anybody can be beautiful. But in my opinion, I'm just saying, I think that's true. I think fat or skinny, anybody can be beautiful. But to say that fat is acceptable, like how far? You know, like we should definitely be representing and showing that anybody can be beautiful and accepted in society. But that shouldn't go as far as saying if you stay this fat, you're gonna have a happy life. You're gonna have an acceptable, like, I don't know, functional life. Because I don't think that's realistic.
Yeah.
You know, people who are fat, people who are bigger, accuse others of having this kind of opinion that I just said as fat phobic. You know what? You know who's the most fat phobic person in your life? Your own body. Your own body doesn't want to be fat. Your own body cannot function, cannot live for a long, healthy, prosperous life if it's fat.
There's gonna be someone out there like, my grandma's 800 pounds and she lived up to 90. Well, okay, your grandma out of not 7 billion, 8 billion people.
Not the norm. She's not the norm. And that's another thing. Like taking people on this, I guess for America, it's not the fringe. I was gonna say the fringe. It's not for on the fringe, right? Because we're the fattest country, right? We have a lot of fat people here. But even so, because we have so many fat people, because there are so many people that are obese, overweight, that doesn't mean we have to change our standards of ourselves. We shouldn't change what the healthy human looks like, what is acceptable, what is normal. And by normal, I mean the average person, right? Like the example with the plane. Think about it for like if you're really fat and you go to like a theme park and you can't get on the rides. I think there was some lady who like recently this lady took her daughter to Universal Studios in Orlando, and she made like a blog post about how most of the rides are not body tolerant or something like that. She couldn't get on most of the rides with her daughter, and it was such a traumatic experience for her that she couldn't do it, and it was all Universal's fault for not making the roller coasters more body acceptable, more fat tolerant or whatever. That's just stupid. That's just ridiculous. It's a little ignorant, if you and self-centered, if you ask me. like how can you have that mentality of like just like I'm fat, so everybody else needs to change, all the other standards need to change. I can't get on board with that. To the point where we say fat people can be beautiful, fat people can be just are just normal humans like you and me. Yes, yes to both things. But to the point where we're saying everything should be able to be accommodated to bigger people who are obese or are fatter. No.
Yeah, I think that's where I draw. That's where we draw the line. I think you and I are very like in agreement. We have very similar views about once it starts dictating what other people should believe and what other people should do, what other people's behavior should be. I think that's where I kind of like draw that, because you can have, if you're overweight, if you're fat, and you believe yourself to be like, well, okay, I'm fine the way I am. You're not, but sure, right? You can have that belief about yourself, right? But to have us, everyone else accept it, I feel like that's not.
To not even be allowed to critique it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, why shouldn't you be allowed to critique it? Right? Why shouldn't you be allowed to critique? I feel like there should be some criticism that happens if there's something off with your behavior.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's that last part, like being off. Like, oh, like being off. Like, are you trying to other people? Are you trying to be exclusive to others?
Okay, you don't wake up fat. Very few people wake up and you're like, holy fuck. Like,
yeah. And I'm trying to say, like, you're like, no, we're not trying to like exclude others in that in this type of language, but we're also trying to establish that there is a health standard, right?
Yeah.
And maybe not for everybody. This is more case by case. There is also a beauty standard too. The beauty standard for a long time has been like, skinnier is better, fit, muscular is better. But that's because that's healthy. At least in terms of, not having so much fat on your body. It's natural to have some fat on your body. It's natural to not always have a six pack, to not always have the hourglass figure, right? That's not always realistic to people. It's more realistic to look like us, right? But
like us. Okay,
us.
please don't. The specimen. I'm not even going to do that. Sorry, I'm not going to do that. I'm body negative. I believe in body negativity. See, that's the thing. It's interesting because views about beauty. I really do think even people that say beauty is subjective is just bullshitting you. Because look, if they say beauty is subjective, I'm like, okay, we'll go fuck an ugly dude right now, or go fuck an ugly girl right now. Like how many? If you meet a really hot like girl, right, stereotypically hot girl, she says beauty is subjective, and you say, okay, we'll go.
Even that sentence is subjective, because stereotypical beautiful girl to me could be different from what you think it is, or from what somebody else thinks it is. But I think we have the same idea, so I get.
We have some agreement, like we have some agreement. Oh, that girl's cute, right? That girl's there's overlap with what we believe is beautiful. But even if someone is let's say stereotypically beautiful, what society would consider stereotypically beautiful, and they say that beauty is subjective, right? Well, then, like, literally, like, if that's true, you should be able to fuck someone that is considered stereotypically ugly. You get what I mean? Like,
yeah, the subjectiveness part, like, just because it's your, I guess, just because it's like it's your, not prerogative, what's the word? Your preference, like, just because it's your preference, like what you think is beautiful, what you think is attractive, that means that it's not valid to anybody else, right? It's only to you. And in some cases, some groups will make that a problem, where like you are, because you are like that, because you think only this standard is beautiful, that means you're X-phobic to everything else that's not beautiful according to your standard. That's messed up. That's not fair, because
see, that's the thing. It's like, can you just not be wrong?
Yeah.
Like, if you say, well, I don't consider that person beautiful, and then I consider this beautiful, Couldn't you just be wrong? It's like,
Wrong about what?
wrong about what you consider beautiful. Like I feel like you
No,
could be wrong if beauty isn't subjective. Like beauty is like
mhm.
there's something out there in the world that's considered beautiful.
But wrong implies that there is a right way. That's what I'm saying, that there is no right way. Actually, I guess now that I think about it, I guess I'm a bit against what you're saying,
Yeah, yeah.
because to me, yeah, to me, beauty is subjective. However, as a society, and over the past hundreds of years that we've been a society, yeah, hundreds of years that we've been a society, we've kind of come together to accept what is beautiful, or what's the standard, right?
Mhm.
It's only recently that new groups that are, for lack of a better word, not beautiful or not within those standards are saying, hey, no, that's not normal. That's not what every standard should be. That's not what all of us should be striving for.
Mhm.
That's your opinion. That means it's like it's subjective to you in that point as well.
So yeah, I see it's different because you think beauty is subject. I don't think beauty is subject. I think there's beautiful people
Mm-hmm.
and there's ugly. I was gonna say not beautiful, but then I was like, it's ugly, And it's nothing. They're not morally bad people.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not what I would, what's
No, but
considered beautiful.
I think I get what you're saying, because I think we can both agree men who look like, I don't know, Channing Tatum, Michael B. Jordan, uh, Justin Baldoni, I don't know, like these men who are physically fit and just like beautiful men, right? That's a standard of beauty for men.
Mm-hmm. I guess so. Yeah,
And
sure.
everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people, probably maybe even the majority of people, men and women, would agree that that is a handsome man.
But see, that's the thing. If you believe that beauty is subjective, then you could, knowing that, you should be able to just switch. Okay, you believe beauty is subjective. Fuck the opposite of Channing Tatum. Take Channing Tatum and whatever the opposite of Channing Tatum. I don't know. You should be able to just.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's subjective, but there's still a majority agreement.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. There's
Because
a majority.
you can think Channing Tatum is attractive, but you could also think, who's like not Channing Tatum?
It's the opposite. NJ is on.
Oh, I know. What's his name? Timothy Chalamet. Like, just like it's still a white man, but like the very opposite. Like, not built, shorter, long hair, kind of lanky, right?
Well, Timothy Chalamet is attractive, but for different reasons.
But it's okay because it's different reasons. It still makes it subjective, because the things that make either one of them attractive is up to the beholder, up to the beauty. What's the phrase? Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder.
Yeah, but then
that's another way of saying that beauty is subjective.
I don't know if that's another way of saying. Maybe you're like,
what else does it mean?
Okay, because if beauty is subjective, then there's a whole group of other people that are the complete opposite of the Channing Tatums and the Timothy Chalamets that should be. If beauty is subjective, there's someone out there that considers them beautiful. Like, think about the ugliest person that you can think of. I'm not going to say any names. Just think about the ugliest person that you can think of. And if beauty is subjective, the people that say those people are beautiful are just as correct as the people that say.
Then maybe it's more correct to say beauty
as a spectrum.
Beauty to each person is subjective, then. Because if, like, okay, maybe I'm just being stupid. What's the definition of subjective?
Well, okay, so like to me, like, how like in math, like even if like if I tell you 1 + 1, what do you think of? 2.
2, yeah.
2, right? And 1 + 1 will be 2 no matter what someone else says. And someone could be wrong. Like, let's say they did math incorrectly and they said 1 + 1 was 3. They could be wrong, but that doesn't change the fact that 1 + 1 is 2. I believe that there's beautiful people, and the truth of beautiful people is just as true as 1 + 1 being 2.
Interesting.
That's what I believe. And people could just be wrong on their own beliefs on what's beautiful, but that doesn't mean that doesn't take away from the beauty. Right, there's this thing called beautiful.
I don't like this, because leftists will say this is very condescending. But to say that something is wrong, to say that your vision of beauty is wrong, it's a bit condescending. It's a bit, and to me, that still makes it sound subjective, because if you think something's wrong and you think something else is right, there is, especially for beauty, there is no one answer. There's a standard. I think what I'm hearing you say is that there is a standard that all of us still hold as true. Like, this is beautiful and this is not. But the line that divides the two is subjective.
Yeah, I feel like there's a very big, there's a clear indicator, at least to 99.9% of the population, of what's not beautiful and what is beautiful. Right? Like, if I showed like a really not beautiful person, right? Like, again, like they could be a great person, a good, morally good person, but physically they're not beautiful, like a Quasimodo. Okay. Right? Like a Quasimodo. Like Esmeralda.
That's an extreme. But
there's people out there that look like Quasimodo.
But the majority of people that I would think are up for debate with beautiful and not beautiful are not Quasimodos.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a debate, right? Like, there's a debate on what's beautiful and what's not beautiful. But let's just take the extremes, like the really, Quasimodo versus, we talked about a Channing Tatum, like a Quasimodo versus a Channing Tatum, right? Like, if beauty is subjective, right? That's like, it's in the eye of the beholder. There's no such thing as beautiful. Then we could say, like, feasibly, I could say, hey, Quasimodo is handsome. Quasimodo is beautiful, right?
But that's your opinion.
But is that correct?
Beauty is not correct. It's not incorrect or correct.
So you don't believe that there's beauty is correct or incorrect?
I think there's a standard that exists in our society that the majority of people would agree that is beautiful.
I agree with that. Okay.
Yeah, but I also think that even though we have this general idea of what is beautiful, that doesn't mean that everybody that we're attracted to, everybody that we call beautiful, always looks like that person.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's subjective, because even though all of us can agree that this person is beautiful, maybe there's a subset or another person that only, I don't know, arbitrary 23% of the population agrees this is beautiful, and the other 70 whatever percent agree this is not beautiful.
Okay, so but that might be different from saying it's subjective.
Well, that's okay. So
because subjective is like, okay, like a color. Like, if I say my favorite color is white.
Well, I think you can say that.
Now, let's say my favorite color is blue, and your favorite color is red.
Okay.
Right? Like, that's subjective. I feel like that's clearly, oh yeah, like, of course, like, you can have that opinion and you're not wrong. Do you believe that beauty is very similar to that? Because that's clearly something that's subjective, right? Favorite color. That's clearly something that's subjective. So you believe fully that's
and in that same, I may agree with some not majority, with some group, that this is a standard of beauty and I think this is beautiful, the same way that I will disagree with another group that thinks this is beautiful. I am well within my right to have an opinion and say, no, that's not beautiful, that's pretty ugly, that's actually pretty gross, I wouldn't want that for myself. That's fine for me to say. I probably wouldn't say that to the person's face, right? It's just mean. But both can be true.
Would you say that about someone's favorite color?
Yes.
You say that about someone's favorite color?
Yeah, because if your favorite color is blue and my favorite color is red, I'm allowed to look at I'm able to look at your color blue and say, oh no, that's gross. I wouldn't prefer that for myself. I wouldn't wear blue. I wouldn't paint blue. Like, I wouldn't. I don't want blue. I want red instead. But you're part of this group that says, oh no, we like blue. We actually don't like red. Yours is actually the ugly one. Subjective.
Interesting. That's so fascinating. Okay.
I mean, I feel like we're just.
I think you're trying to defend your.
Because you're asking me.
I'm just kidding. Get really hostile. You're trying to defend why you like certain people.
Red is a bit better than blue.
Red.
I will say that
much. Red gives you a little bit more pressure. There's a lot more red in there.
Dude.
Yeah, we definitely have preferences. I think our preferences
I think that is
Or
that
opposite.
is that the compromise? We have preferences.
Well, see, okay,
We're allowed-
I still think I have to think about this more, but I really still think that there's like the concept of beautiful and not beautiful is just as true as 1 plus 1 being 2. Like there's the truth about.
I think we'll just have to agree to disagree on that.
Well, I'll try to change your mind. I'll try to change your mind.
No, dude, come on, it's Christmas time. Like, yes, there's a lot of fat people right now because they're all getting really fat from eating. And Santa himself was very fat. You know, he's almost famous for it. Yeah, but I think we've dwelled on fat America a little too long now.
Hey, I'm fine with America being obese because I lived in a third world country and
it's an interesting problem to have.
It's an interesting problem to have.
It's like we had such an abundance of food and prosperity and wealth to have those two things. We got fat from it.
We still live longer than the average person that's ever lived in the history of this world.
Americans live longer than the average
person that's lived there is living now.
Mm-hmm.
The average person in the world that's living now, and the average person that's lived in the world, in the history of the world.
I think I get it. Man, that's pretty interesting. So
even though as obese as unhealthy as our society is, and we it's easy to criticize our society. We live in it, it's easy to criticize it, but as unhealthy as it is, we still live longer than the average, person in the Middle Ages.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, like in I know this isn't real, but in what's it called in dang it, the House of the Dragon, Fire and Blood, the book. Yeah, that's very much like the life expectancy in that book is based on medieval times. Or if you make it to like your 40s,
yeah, you're old.
You're old.
Yeah, you're pretty much old. Like
you're old. Yeah.
40s back in the Middle Ages is what 80s would be now.
Yeah.
Right? Because it was so common to just die at 30.
Yeah, and from like random things. You know, they had a sniffle one day, dead the next day.
Yeah.
They had diarrhea one night, gone by morning. Because it was the way it used to be.
Yeah, it's not the way it used to be now. It's what we live. It's normal for people to live 70, 80, even 90 years old.
Oh, dude, again, dude, it's Christmas time. Why are we talking about the mortality?
I'm not talking about mortality. I'm just saying. It's like when.
How about a lighthearted subject?
It's like when your grandpa tells you that Santa isn't real.
You're still doing it.
I'm just saying.
I want a lighthearted subject, NJ.
Give me a lighthearted subject, man. I'm just thinking about Christmas and
how all right.
There's 0 people with Santa kinks, like actual Santa kinks.
Lighthearted topic, right? Lighthearted. Billionaires. Stupid or not stupid?
Do I believe? Okay, to make $1 billion is obviously not stupid. You've done something. So this is the thing. I don't get it when people say billionaires are stupid, because you've done something that 99.9% of the population has never done in the history of this world.
Moving a little closer, you're like, yeah. There we go.
99.9% of the people in the history of the world has never been a billionaire. So of course I don't think it's stupid.
Yeah, I saw. I finally have Twitter. I think I told you, right? I finally have Twitter now.
I was on it for like 5 minutes and then you were gone.
Yeah, I started my Twitter account and 5 minutes in, I was like, "This is garbage. I can't be here."
It's toxic,
and not because Elon Musk is in charge now, but because I'm pretty sure this is how Twitter has always been. It's just one giant comment section, a town forum, right? A town square. That's what it was. A town square where everybody can say anything they want, and we, by our comments and by our likes and retweets, we elevate the ones that we think are better opinions or like more noteworthy opinions, right?
Well, back then, if you think about it, there's major consequences. If you were in a town square and you said something really messed up, there are consequences. Like people would stone you to death. Like people would criticize you. But here in Twitter, like what?
Now you just get canceled.
Yeah, but you can't even literally get canceled if you don't have your real name on there.
Yeah.
And
that was just a quick little side note. That was up for debate, I think. Like was Elon still gonna allow anonymous accounts on Twitter? Because there are people out there who are more than willing to put their names and their faces and their entire life essentially on the line by standing by what they say, by putting their name next to it. Right. But there's also a lot of people in the world who maybe have a more private life and they want to participate in the online discourse,
Uh-huh.
but anonymously. What do you think about that? Is that should that be allowed to just be anonymous on Twitter?
I think the anonymity of commenting on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
just in general, has really made Twitter, I'm going to use Twitter as an example, as like an echo chamber because you can say whatever you want and people can't really call you out for it because
Mm-hmm.
there's anonymity to it. Again, like think about if
I mean,
you're
they can call you out, but only in the sense of look at this person's comment, even though nobody knows who this person
yeah.
is.
Well, think
Yeah.
about it like this: like if you were in a town square, right? Like there's no anonymity.
Yeah.
If people can point to
You have to stand by what you said.
yeah, you have to stand by what you said. So that takes out the. I need to really think about this before I say it. You know that
Right.
that part. You know, because in discourse, it's like you have to think about what you say because what you say isn't just how it affects the person that you're talking to, but it affects everyone else. So you have to be very careful with what you say. You know, or be okay with saying that you're wrong.
Okay, that's interesting.
Right.
I feel like I'm not trying to accuse you of going against yourself, but what I heard, I could be wrong. What I heard is that what you said does affect people. Does that mean is that the same thing as what you say makes you responsible for what other people do and feel and act?
Well, no, like what you say definitely has an effect on people. I don't know
But if they act on it,
if it is a responsibility. See, that's the thing. It's like if I feel a certain way, right? Like I don't necessarily need to act on it. My feeling isn't attached to my action,
mm-hmm.
right? Like those are two completely separate things, and those two don't necessarily have to be connected to each other.
Don't necessarily, but also you can't, like in a court of law, for example, you can't tie the two together. I feel like this person felt this way, so they acted this way. I feel like or actually, if this person heard something and felt this way, and thus they acted another way, does that tie responsibility to the person who said the thing originally?
Okay, so you're talking about court of law. So in a court
I guess legally, right? Because you could clearly, I don't know, like if I kept telling you, NJ, like I really hate broccoli. I despise broccoli.
Uh-huh.
Like I'll never eat broccoli ever. And you hear this enough times that now you're thinking, yeah, broccoli kind of sucks, and you just spit on all the broccoli, and then you set it on fire.
Yeah.
Am I responsible for your action?
See, in a court of law, you would be if that would be the reaction of everyone else. If there's enough people that would be their reaction to you saying broccoli over and over and over again, if there's a reasonable enough case that would be the reaction, then yes, you would be responsible. It's like if I said fire in a movie theater, right? There'd be enough people that their reaction to fire is let me stampede out of the theater.
But that's like, I think that okay, that example isn't really the same thing. You're scaring people into doing something for their own safety. Whereas online, if you're anonymous and you just say that you have this opinion, and then somebody else with that same opinion then goes and does some act of
fucking Disney.
Somebody else with that same opinion then goes and acts with that feeling in mind. Just because you had the same opinion, doesn't mean
you wouldn't be responsible for it because there's other people with that same opinion that didn't act the same way that person did. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, but by just having one person act on it,
no, absolutely not.
No, right? Okay. I think we're okay. I think we're on agreement. We're in agreement there. Then.
Were you testing the water?
I was testing it because it's the same thing as the beauty subjective thing. I want to know like.
Well, okay, so that's the thing. It's like that is an important. That is actually a very big question in court of law because that's a lot of conversation about hate speech and things in that realm where what you say affects someone else or maybe affects someone to act a certain way. right? So if you say it, are you responsible for that?
Yeah.
The actions that someone else took.
Yeah.
And I think the answer is no, unless it's something that is rational for someone else to react to. Like the fire example, right? Like if I said fire, it's natural. Like if I said fire in a movie theater and there's no fire, and then someone got trampled because everyone was bouncing, everyone was leaving, then I would be responsible because that's a natural thing for people to do, right? It's natural for people to run away when you say
be
fire.
responsible for that.
I'd be responsible for that.
Yeah.
Right? When someone gets trampled, right? When you say fire, okay, you're responsible for it because if there's no fire, then you're responsible for that, right?
So so I brought up billionaires, right? Because Elon Musk being the billionaire that I'm talking about, he owns Twitter. Is he responsible for the people on Twitter who may share some of his opinions or some opinions of other people on Twitter and then go act on it?
Act on it in what sense? Like is there an example of that?
Like he said in one of his tweets from like last week, I think, after some more Twitter files were released, was my pronouns are prosecute Fauci.
I remember that.
And so I think
sorry, that's really off the cuff. Wow, and so that's actually really funny.
And so I think NBC the next day, somebody was asked about like the hate that Elon Musk is perpetuating on Twitter by saying things like that is what gets people hurt and what incites violence.
Yeah, I don't think so, because people have been saying prosecute Fauci for a very long time, and there's no violence that happens.
This guy with a platform is saying it now, so it's more insightful. Or no, it's not insightful. It's more of a stronger insight. You know what I mean?
But where did he say be violent to Fauci? He just said prosecute Fauci.
Yeah, it's the sentiment behind it, right? It's the sentiment behind it.
The sentiment is that criminals should be prosecuted. That's the sentiment. People that collude with social media platforms about what information they should put and not put should be prosecuted, not that they should be beheaded like it's the French Revolution.
Yeah, although that would be... I'm kidding. I don't want anybody beheaded. God.
I know, Brian. What's the sentiment behind that? No, but it's the sentiment is people who break the law should be prosecuted. I mean, what's the bad sentiment in that? Right?
Because the opinion is not I guess widely accepted by the media,
so if I say prosecute R. Kelly, which they did, right, and someone prosecuted R. Kelly or beat R. Kelly because he's he pees on 13-year-old girls, is that a bad thing?
No,
if the sentiment
because that's the general sentiment of the society, right?
So it's just okay because it's the general
because it's like everybody agrees.
So the popular kids club, if the popular kids say it's
the popular
okay,
opinion,
it's popular kids say it's okay, so there's not really any principles about it. It's just,
and you can't speak out about it either, right? Because if you speak out about it, especially now, for I would dare to say far left opinions, not facts, definitely opinions at this point at least. If you speak out on it, then you're wrong. You're called a bigot. You're called a fascist, inciting violence. Like you're called all these things that are meant to silence you, right? Are meant to like scare you into never speaking out about it. Yeah, that's the part that is very scary for sure. Thankfully, because Elon Musk owns Twitter, I share no feeling on whether Elon Musk is a good or bad guy. All I know is he's a billionaire who started and or through his own business savvy grew more than one business into multi-millionaire status, multi-million-dollar businesses in their statuses.
Was it Tesla,
SpaceX, and
now Twitter?
He didn't grow Twitter. That's the thing, though. He bought Twitter.
Okay, he bought Twitter.
But Tesla and SpaceX, I think Tesla wasn't his to begin with. I think SpaceX was his to begin with. Either way, those two companies were not at all what they are now when he first started. When he bought them, right? And I've seen, these are just comments on Twitter, right? But I've seen people commenting that like just because like he bought it doesn't mean he did anything. Yes, it does. He was the head. He was the head of this.
Yes, it does, bitch.
He's the head of this company. Like,
if it weren't for him, SpaceX and Tesla would not be where it is right now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It would be not.
He may not be. He may not be 100% responsible, but he is still the leader of those companies. So he has some responsibility for why they're as good as they are now, right? Yeah, it's frustrating when I hear people say like, "Oh, billionaires, Elon Musk, they're stupid." Like for the things that they do, for the things that they say, the things that they think. Like, oh, okay, I didn't know billionaire CEOs of successful companies are stupid. That means anybody can do it, right?
See, that's the thing. It's so interesting. So I knew a person one time, I'm not going to say who, but I knew a person one time that literally thought what CEOs do is they don't do anything. I don't know if people understand how hard it is to be like a CEO or, just to even own a business. Like, it's really hard. Like to sit, like right now, I'm sitting in meetings about whether or not we should move our operations from just virtual or to in person.
Yeah,
because that decision affects everything. As a CEO, you make decisions that affect everything. That affects hundreds of employees. That affects future decades.
And on top of that, you're making those decisions, which means you're taking on the risk. Which means that you're investing the time, the money, the effort in general to make these decisions. And if you made the wrong decision, like if let's say you hired someone as a manager and it turns out they're a really shitty manager, it's their fault for being a shitty manager, but it's also kind of your fault for
making that decision.
for making the choice. Even if initially this person looked like the best choice, you wasted all that time and money to hire this person just to find out they're shitty at their job. And now you have to get rid of them, keep everything in order while you go find somebody else to take their place. That's the risk that you take on. And if you're the CEO, you're at a higher level to the point that maybe people are making those kind of decisions for you now, but you still had to get to that point. You still had to make, and you're still making decisions
that are even bigger
than that to make sure everything else underneath still runs without all falling apart.
I don't know. I don't get why people think CEOs just kind of sit there and do nothing. I never understood that sentiment.
Because probably enough of them, too many of them, right, think isn't the people with these opinions. They think that the CEOs just like got to a point where now they just have to do anything. They can relax and just let the money flow in and let other people do their jobs for them. It's just not true.
It's just not true.
Not true.
Elon, I don't even think Elon Musk goes home all that much. I was listening to a podcast where he just like sleeps in the office, right? Like that's literally how he operates, and that's if you want to be really good at something, that's what you need to do.
You know what I think that is that what allows you to have that really asinine opinion of billionaires. That's a privilege.
No, it's privilege.
That's 100% a privilege.
It's privilege of it's a privilege of not understanding, because you don't have that risk. You don't have that risk.
It's a privilege of ignorance. Wow.
Yes, it is. It is. You know how easy it is? Like, I'm not a CEO, but I make important decisions that affect people that I work with and that work for me. And so it's tough. Like, it's tough to make those decisions. Like, I have to, there's a lot of studying that you need to do, and there's a lot of late nights that you need to do to figure out what's the right decision. And sometimes even then you still don't know, but you still got to make a freaking decision,
and be okay with the possibility that it might turn out wrong. Failing.
When an employee is wrong, they can apply for another job. When a business owner is wrong,
they might lose their business.
They lose their business, which is,
if not their whole business, then
hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars. In Elon Musk's case, billions of dollars.
Look at remember when he smoked weed on Joe Rogan's podcast? I think in the moment that people or when that came out, Tesla stock dropped because they didn't like that the CEO of Tesla was smoking weed on Joe Rogan's podcast.
That's a decision.
That's a decision he made, one that he I don't know if he calculated it in his head. Maybe he just maybe he also figured like this is not that much. It's just a reactionary thing. Kind of funny how our economy, the stock market specifically, it runs like that, right?
It's always up and down.
Yeah,
You know,
things that people do like just kind of off the cuff can make the economy just dip
what does Matthew McConaughey say? It's a fugazi. It's a fugazi.
Fugazi.
It's a fugazi.
It's all. It doesn't exist. It's not even on the elemental chart, right? It's not tangible. It's not real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
God, that's scary.
Yeah.
Overall, since we're still on the topic of billionaires, I don't know how much time you spent on Twitter, but overall, do you think good or bad for Twitter and social media?
I think it's great.
Yeah,
I think it's great, especially what we're discovering right now about how Twitter actually operated.
Yeah, the whole scandal, because it's exactly what it was, right? Collusion scandal of government agencies working with the former heads of Twitter. Not even Jack Dorsey, like the people who were essentially running Twitter in Jack Dorsey's stead while he was off doing God knows what.
Yeah.
It's like to the level that they were communicating with these executives at Twitter to censor certain political views, to remove people from Twitter, to just keep the popular opinion where they wanted it to be based on what the government wanted it to be. That's really scary.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's not hard to imagine at all because people have been talking about it in the form of a conspiracy theory for years, right? Shadow banning, what's the word? Dampening, silencing people on Twitter. Like it was happening like right in front of our eyes. It was so clear.
But we didn't believe it because you were a conspiracy kook.
People believed it, but the majority, quote unquote, the majority of people, or at the very least, the people in power, did not believe it. And even if they knew it was real, or even if they found out it was real, they did everything in their power to stop it. Yeah. It's fucked up. Man. All I can say is I'm happy I wasn't on Twitter for any of that, but I'm kind of mad now that even now nobody's like really paying attention to it. Nobody really
going to pay attention to it.
Nobody really cares.
It's easier to be comfortable.
Yeah, nobody really. I mean, the people who do care about it, like they can't do anything about it now. Like it's almost like, imagine showing up to court with all the proof in the world, and the judge still goes like this. Innocent.
You mean like OJ?
Hey, glove didn't fit. The glove didn't fit.
It stretched out his hand. Doesn't fit.
Oh no!
Oh no!
It doesn't fit.
It doesn't
what do
fit.
I do?
Like it obviously does. Like I'm like, you got the glove is in your hand, right? It just doesn't close. So fascinating. I still think he did it.
Man, we talked about some like really serious things, like familiar society-wise serious things. You know. So how about we end on something a bit lighter?
It's better than $1 million, but
I know I kept saying, I know I said lighter the last time, but how about we actually end on something lighter?
Hey, thank you for joining us the past 10 months. There's several of you that watch us pretty consistently, so appreciate it. And we'll see y'all on season 2.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year from the boys
on the edge.
Yeah,
subscribe right here.
Right there.
It still doesn't pop up. It still doesn't pop up, but it'll pop up somehow.
That's season 1.
Pussy.